Hey there, Knicks Nation! Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into what might be the most crucial decision facing our beloved team this offseason. That's right, we're talking about Julius Randle and the looming question of his contract extension. So grab your favorite Knicks gear, settle in, and let's break this down piece by piece. First things first, let's set the stage. Starting August 3rd, Julius Randle became eligible for a contract extension. We're not talking chump change here, folks. The maximum extension the Knicks could offer is a whopping $181.5 million over 4 years. That's some serious cheddar. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second. Didn't we just extend Jalen Brunson and Coach Tibbs? What's the big deal? And you'd be right to ask that. But here's the thing. Those extensions were no-brainers. Brunson took less than he could have gotten on the open market, and Tibbs has proven his worth as our head coach. The Randle situation? It's a whole different ballgame. Let's start by looking at the pros of extending Randle. 1, he's a 3-time All-Star in the last 4 years. That's not something to sneeze at, folks. 2, he was absolutely crucial in our impressive 12-2 run with OG Anunoby last season. Remember how good we looked during that stretch? 3, he provides much-needed scoring support for Brunson. We can't expect Jalen to carry the entire offensive load, especially in the playoffs. 4, at 29, he's still in his prime. We're not talking about extending an aging veteran here. But here's where it gets complicated. The NBA isn't just about talent anymore. It's about managing the salary cap, and more specifically, staying under what's called the second apron. For those of you who aren't cap gurus, let me break it down for you. The second apron is a new salary threshold introduced in the latest collective bargaining agreement. If a team goes over this threshold, they face severe restrictions. We're talking limitations on trades, free agent signings, and even draft pick penalties. It's not just about paying more luxury tax anymore. It's about maintaining the flexibility to improve your team. Now, Jalen Brunson did us a solid by taking a team-friendly deal. His extension actually helps us stay under this second apron. But a max extension for Randle? That could push us dangerously close to that threshold, especially in the 2025-26 season. So, what are our options? Let's break them down one by one. 1, extend Randle at the max. This is the simplest option, but it's also the riskiest from a financial standpoint. If we give Randle the full $181.5 million, we'd be left with only about $13 million of wiggle room under the second apron in 2025-26. And that's with only 10 players under contract. It doesn't leave us much room to maneuver. 2, extend Randle at a discount. This would be the ideal scenario. If Randle were willing to take less than the max, it could give us the best of both worlds. We keep our all-star power forward and maintain financial flexibility. But here's the million-dollar question. Why would Randle take significantly less than he could potentially get in free agency? 3, wait it out. We could let Randle play out this season and become a free agent in 2025. This gives us more time to evaluate how he fits with our current core and how the team performs. But it's a risky move. If Randle has another all-star caliber season, his price tag could go up. Or worse, we could lose him for nothing in free agency. 4, trade Randle. This is the nuclear option, and it's not one to be taken lightly. We're a contender now, and it's incredibly difficult to trade an all-star and still improve as a team. Plus, finding a trade partner willing to take on Randle's salary and give us equal value in return is no easy task. Now, here's where things get interesting. There's a potential compromise that could work for both Randle and the Knicks. It involves a bit of financial gymnastics, so stick with me here. Randle could pick up his $30.9 million player option for the 2025-26 season. Then, he could sign an extension that would kick in for the 2026-27 season. This extension could be for up to 3 years and start at a salary as high as $43.3 million. Why is this significant? Well, it gives the Knicks more flexibility in that crucial 2025-26 season. With Randle at $30.9 million instead of a potential $40+ million, we'd have much more room under the second apron. We're talking about potentially $21.5 million in wiggle room, folks. This could allow us to use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which would let us sign a free agent for up to $14.1 million in starting salary. Or we could trade for a player making up to that amount without having to send out matching salary. That's the kind of flexibility that separates good teams from great teams in the modern NBA. But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. The NBA landscape is changing, and it's changing fast. Free agency isn't the gold mine it used to be, especially for players in Randle's tier. Look at this past summer. Besides Paul George, who's clearly a max player, no free agent who changed teams got more than $66 million guaranteed. That honor went to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a solid 3-and-D wing, but certainly not a player of Randle's caliber. So Randle might actually be better off securing his bag now with an extension, even if it's not the absolute max. It's a classic bird-in-hand situation. The grass isn't always greener on the free agency side, especially with the new CBA rules. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: Randle's fit with the team. Some fans and analysts have questioned whether Randle is the ideal power forward for a team that's otherwise filled with defensive-minded players, long wings, and a score-first point guard in Brunson. It's a fair question, but let's not forget that 12-and-2 run I mentioned earlier. When Randle was playing alongside OG Anunoby, we looked like world beaters. We weren't just winning, we were demolishing good teams. We're talking about blowout victories against the healthy Sixers, Nuggets, and Timberwolves. During that stretch, Randle was playing some of the best, most unselfish basketball of his Knicks career. He was creating open three-pointers for teammates, moving the ball well, and acting as an effective secondary scorer next to Brunson. This brings us to an important point. Brunson needs another source of shot creation next to him. As good as Jalen is, and make no mistake, he's a star. He can't carry the entire offensive load by himself. This becomes even more crucial in the playoffs when defenses key in on your primary scorer. So while Randle might not be a perfect fit on paper, his ability to create his own shot and draw defensive attention is incredibly valuable to this team. It's not just about individual talent. It's about how that talent fits within the team context. Now let's talk about the Knicks' front office strategy. This current administration has shown a clear preference for extending players rather than letting them hit free agency. They extended Randle after his first All-NBA season, they extended Josh Hart, they even extended R.J. Barrett before trading him. This strategy is becoming more common across the NBA. With the new CBA, extensions are increasingly valuable. Agents are warning their clients about the dangers of testing the waters in free agency instead of taking the money up front. Think about it this way. Randle could believe a max contract or close to it is coming in the summer of 2025, only to find out when he gets there that the offers aren't what he expected. The number of teams that could even offer Randle a competitive contract is limited. The Hornets, Pistons, Spurs, and Jazz might have around $20 million in cap space, but that's not enough for a player of Randle's caliber. The Wizards could have lots of cap room, but they're in an aggressive rebuild. They're not likely to offer big money to a 30-year-old veteran. The Rockets are an interesting case. They could have max cap space and might be looking to make a splash. But everyone and their mother will be using Houston as leverage in free agency. Plus, would a front court of Randle and Alperen Şengün really be what the Rockets are looking for? There's a very real possibility that if Randle hits free agency, he might have to settle for a sign-and-trade deal. We've seen this happen with other stars who are viewed as specific fits rather than universal talents. Think DeMar DeRozan a few years back. Or, in a worst-case scenario, Randle might have to take fewer years in a less competitive environment to maintain a high salary. We saw something similar with Tobias Harris this summer. So from Randle's perspective, accepting an extension that doesn't give him much of a raise might seem like too much of a concession. But it could actually be his easiest route to long-term financial security. That could be the Knicks' selling point in negotiations. Now, let's look at how the best franchises in the league are handling this new NBA financial landscape. The defending champion Celtics have been masterful at securing their core with team-friendly extensions. Just in the past few months, they've extended Jason Tatum, Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Sam Hauser. In previous seasons, they've given team-friendly deals to Kristaps Porzingis, Robert Williams III, and Peyton Pritchard. Some of these moves work out in obvious ways. Keeping Al Horford for less than the mid-level exception was a grand slam. Others might seem minor at first, but pay off big later. Remember when they added an extra year to Josh Richardson's contract? That extra year gave them the salary to trade Richardson to San Antonio for Derek White, a move that helped bring them a championship. The Knicks are clearly trying to follow a similar model. They've already locked in Brunson on a team-friendly deal. Talks with Mikal Bridges, who becomes extension eligible on October 1st, will come later. But before all that, they need to figure out the Randle situation. So, where does all this leave us? Well, the Knicks essentially have three paths forward. 1, they could agree to an extension quickly, securing Randle's future with the team, but potentially limiting their financial flexibility. 2, they could revisit talks at the trade deadline, using the first half of the season to evaluate Randle's fit and performance. 3, they could take negotiations all the way into free agency next summer, but that comes with the risk of losing Randle for nothing. Throughout all of this, the Knicks will likely stick to two key principles. First, they don't want to negate the flexibility that Brunson's team-friendly extension gave them. That deal was a gift, and they can't afford to waste it. Second, they don't want to lose Randle just because of finances. He's still a valuable player, and letting talent walk for nothing is rarely a good move in the NBA. So, Knicks fans, now it's your turn. What do you think the team should do? Should we extend Randle at the max and go all in with this core? Should we try to negotiate a team-friendly deal? Or should we consider trading him while his value is high? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, there's no clear right or wrong answer here. This is what makes being an NBA fan so exciting. We get to debate these complex decisions and see how they play out. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this deep dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. We'll be here all off-season, analyzing every move the Knicks make and speculating about what might come next. Remember, whether we extend, trade, or hold pat with Randle, we're all in this together. Through thick and thin, we bleed orange and blue. Let's go, Knicks.